Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Okay, I have to do a little bit of catch up. I've completed my blue snowman and then just got sidetracked and the week got away on me. So I'm a little bit behind, but I caught up last night. This is my red snowmen, as in big guy and a little guy. What I did with this one is I really wanted to see if I could make these doily motifs look like a snowman. So I think I did. I'm still a little concerned that in some light you can't distinguish between the two. The pattern is definitely obvious, but maybe if one of them was a little darker than the other, maybe, I don't know. When I was looking at it in the lounge room last night and showing my husband, it was quite dark. So the lights were on, but it was darkish. And I thought, oh, I can't distinguish them. But this morning in the morning light, I can. So I don't know. I like them. They come up really well. I just did some overcast stitch around the two elements to make the hats. Popped a little satin bow with a rosette in it. I'll bring it up to the camera. You may not have picked that up. So there's the rosette with the bow, and then put a little timber bird in their hat. I had some of this stick that has these little red berries, so I cut that down and used a couple pieces to create an arm on the side of this guy, and of course those two. Some ribbon for a necktie. And then along the bottom, I've made it look like they're sitting in some flowers. Now, this fabric here had all of these little motifs on it. So I just cut some of them out and then using normal cotton, just stitch them down. I could go further and embellish them more and that, but I don't think I will. I sort of don't want to detract from the piece too much by having too much going on the bottom. So I'm really, really pleased with it. Then I just use some cross stitches with a little stitch in the center of each cross. There's a little stitch, that's actually 3 stitches to couch down the ribbon. Then I went through and I used couching again with the red and the white around the outsides. It sort of looks like candy stripes. And then I've also couched some lines. I was trying to decide what to do as my background, and I went to start doing seed stitch, but it blended, so I sort of did a bit down here, and it blended too much with the lace because seed stitch can look a little lacy. And I did a little bit over here, and it just didn't look right. So I thought, I need something simpler in the back. So I was going to do camphor stitch, just straight running stitch, and that was a bit boring. It's my go-to stitch, so I decided just to couch down a thread by bringing it across, knotting it off, and then coming back and just dropping a few little stitches along it, which sort of matches in with what I did with the X's down the bottom. So I sort of like how it come together. So that's my red snowman piece. So that's ready to go in the journal of stitchery for my red. Now, nutcrackers. So I've got a couple ideas on the go here. Now, the first thing is the blue. I've chosen a piece of linen that I got in a pack from Lisa Mattock. I hope it's the right choice. I hope it's not too coarse because I want to embroider these nutcrackers. So I hope it's the right decision. I guess if it's too hard to embroider, I can always change it back out and select something else. So all I did was I went to Google and I typed in free nutcracker sketch, and all of these came up, and I just copied and pasted into Word, got my sizing right. So it's pretty simple to find a nutcracker. The only thing, what was I going to say? Fudge has just walked into the room. Hey, Fudge. And I've lost my train of thought. No, I can't remember what I was going to say. So it's just a case now of tracing over the design. Of course, if you can't see your design, you can put it up on a window to get the light shining through all your layers, or you could use a light box. I do have a light box, but the bulb has gone in it. I do have a replacement bulb, but I just haven't connected the two together, like bulb into light box. So yeah, that's the plan for these three. What else I do with them, I'm not sure yet. It's just a case of getting them drawn onto my fabric, embroidering them, they're rather cute. Actually, I'm going to be honest, I don't like nutcrackers. Sorry, Sarah. I think they're freaky. I sell a lot of nutcrackers in our business, being that I have Christmas shops. So I'm always on the lookout for nutcrackers. But myself, it's late at night when you finished your day and you're walking through the shop and most of the lights are turned off, and all you can see sitting on shelves looking at you are eyes. And if it's not nutcrackers, it's elves, all peering at you. And it can get quite can get quite freaky, because sometimes we have characters. It might be, I don't know, it could be a nutcracker, and it has a musical element to it. So there might be a little thing in the back of him that you turn and it plays music, like a music box, is what I'm trying to say. And for years we were selling these Santas that would sit on the shelf, and they have this little turning mechanism in their back which makes their heads roll, and then a musical sound can be heard as well. So there's nothing worse than it's the end of the day, you're absolutely buggered, and you're walking towards the back door to set the alarm and head off for the day, and it's darkish. So you're usually using your mobile phone to sort of see the way. There is emergency lighting in the store, but it's, you know, oh, there's those dogs. It's not a lot of lighting. So we often use our mobile phones just to, you know, make sure we don't break our necks on the way. And you'll walk past this section where all of these types of things are. Santas and nutcrackers and reindeer and, you know, all that type of stuff. And those Santas that I was talking about, they would often start up, but not full on. They just go bing, bing, and the head might move a bit, and it just scares the bejeebers out of you. So obviously they've been tightly wound, or something's happened to them through the day, because everyone's been sort of playing with them and considering purchasing. So most people will turn the little knob at the back to have a little look at, you know, what they do. And there might be a tiny 1/8 of an inch turn left in them. So suddenly it just goes bing, bing. Oh, talk about gives you a heart attack. And of course, when you turn around to see what the hang it is, here's this shelf full of these nutcrackers and elves just peering at you. Yes, a bit disconcerting. Okay, there's my little guy. So reasonably simple sort of character to actually draw. Once you sort of get the feel for them, there's not a lot to them design-wise. I remember going to a nutcracker factory. Here's a story for you. We were in China, and it was the fairly early days of our business. And I said to the gentleman that helps us in China, I said, oh, I'd love my own range of nutcrackers. Not because I like Nutcrackers, more of an ego thing, you know, design my own range. So he goes, yes, I have a supplier that can do that. So we drove all the way to this factory and it took us hours to get there. I don't know where we were, but anyway, we got there and oh my goodness, you should have seen it. Sarah, you would have been beside yourself. There was nutcrackers by the thousands, every size and every design that you could ever imagine. It was incredible. So in I go, feeling very inspired, and I could hear my agent and the owner of the factory having a little chat, which usually happens. They sort of all catch up, and our agent will tell the owner of the factory a little bit about us, what type of business we have. You know, they're sussing us out. So I'm walking around the shop and starting to point to nutcrackers and picking, you know, I probably picked about 40 of them, and then you get them onto a table and then you start really looking at them and deciding what you liked about them, what you didn't like, and then slowly eliminating ones that were no good or finding a substitute. So that's sort of the process. So I'm in seventh heaven picking the nutcrackers, and I could see textiles and flocking and braiding and fringing and gold dingle dangles that could be added and moved, and yeah, having a great time. And then the agent come up to us and said, sorry, but we might as well go because they're not going to supply us. And I was like, why? Thinking, did I insult them? Did I, you know, what happened? So it turned out that after they had their little meet and greet chat, I knew it was quite chatty on the sidelines. They sort of established that we were quite a small customer. I think at that stage we had 3 stores, but my order would have been smallish. And I guess my plan would have been that you've got to spend minimum $10,000 US. That's just the standard. And most items, well, 99% of China, you've got to have 300 units of things, which in my head was not too bad. We could handle 300 of one style of nutcracker. But I was still negotiating. I thought maybe I could get 2 styles in each carton. So that's only 150 of each style. So that's sort of once they get to know me and once they fall in love with me, they might do me a favour. You know, the little kid from Australia, the nice lady from Australia. It sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But anyway, they're chatting away, and it turned out that they wanted 1 container by one style and design. So that would have been thousands of nutcrackers. So to do a range, you would have had 6 containers, 20-foot containers, wasn't 40s, thank goodness. So I was like, oh, that's me out. I'm too little. So it was so disappointing. We drove all that way, and even my agent was disappointed because he said they could have told us that, but he said it was going really well, and just for some reason this man that he was chatting to wasn't even the owner. He was like the factory manager. Just changed his tune. He just decided that, you know, and Tony tried to explain to him that even though I'd picked 40 of them, the guy must have thought that it was 40 containers, where I was sort of just working through design. So, yeah, disappointed. Didn't happen. But what can you do? It just didn't happen. And I certainly didn't need 40 nutcrackers in 40 containers by 20 foot. Oh, goodness, I would be still selling nutcrackers today. So what I'm doing now is it's the second blue, the red version of my nutcracker. So the first thing I want to do is stitch down. I won't do it all because I don't want to bore you. I'm going to stitch down my background, and I've decided to use this music fabric. So I've still got my calico underneath, which I know is the right size, and I've got my music fabric, my background, on top. So I'm just going to do a few invisible stitches just in a few spots, just to hold it together. So the long story short of it, we left that factory, and then a day or so went by, and I was sort of thinking about it a little bit and thinking, oh, what a shame, you know, it would have been nice. And my agent Tony was like, oh, if only I could get you into another one, but we just weren't in the right part of the country to do that. So it was pretty much a forgotten, lost idea. And we were chatting again about this factory boss and how, you know, they must have been a pretty big concern for quantities of nutcrackers. So they probably supply the Costco's, the Walmarts, you know, the really big guys. And those factories, they only want to make, you know, one item and thousands of them. That's just the way they're costed. So boutique stores like me, who want 40 different nutcrackers in half a 20-foot container, and that little bundle needs to join other stock in another container coming from another factory. Yeah, it was just not going to happen. But it turned out that they made the nutcracker that is sold at the Empire State, now I've got to get this right. I think it's the Empire State Building, or it's the Statue of Liberty. Oh, goodness, I'm so sorry. I hope I'm not insulting anyone who knows exactly where this is. It was either the Statue of Liberty and the Empire State Building has a gift shop. I think it's the Statue of Liberty. I believe it is. Oh, but I might be wrong. So correct me if you know. One of those tourist places has a gift shop in the foyer. Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty. It's one of them, guys. This will be interesting. Can someone clarify my memory? So this factory makes a range of nutcrackers for the building with the gift shop. Building is the question. Which building is it? And each year they do a series of designs, and the factory supplies them. So that explains why they wanted big orders too, because you imagine the people that go through those two tourist attractions. So yeah, that is where the nutcrackers for the building come from. So it was pretty cool. It was very, very cool. So there you go. I've got a Christmas nutcracker story for you. Not that I'm holding any gripes over it, but oh, it would have been so fun to have my own range of nutcrackers for our business. It wasn't meant to be. That happens sometimes. Sometimes I'm just too little. See, we need variety, not so much depth. You'll go into a Costco and they'll have 3 nutcrackers, 3 different sizes, and that's it. But the factory would have made them containers of them, containers and containers. So that's sort of no good to me, because otherwise I'll be selling nutcrackers till the day I bloomin' cark it. Some items we do have to buy a lot of because, you know, we just need them, but we will budget for a 2-year buy. So at least we know that we'll sell half in the first season, and in the second season the rest will be sold, and then we place another order. So there's definitely categories within our business where we just have to do that. But that's okay. That would have been a 22-year buy. Okay, so the background is secure. How are we going for time? Fine. Now, my next Nutcracker, this guy is once again a free image. These are colouring in book images is what it looked like on the internet. So I found this fellow. He's a big boy. He is going to be a collage of elements. So I was going to try some needle turn applique, but I'm working on a William Morris project and I'm about to start needle turn applique on that. So I thought, no, I'll try and do this a little bit more rusticy, sort of a bit more slow stitchy, fray, you know, sort of that's my inspiration. So what I've got here is some baking paper. And now I'm just going to break this down into elements that I can cut out and stitch. So let's do one big piece of fabric behind. Might have to do that a little bit bigger. Let's get a leg in position. So I'm sort of having to look through the design, add a little bit extra fabric so that it can tuck under. And don't be too miserly because you're sort of going to need every bit of it to tuck. So I think what we'll do first is we'll pick all the big pieces. Let's get 2 legs. Let's get his shirt down. Now that will pretty much sit on top of everything, so we don't need to add any extra meat like we did the legs. Like that's extra fabric there, so it tucks under the shirt. He has a red section, or a red section. He has a beard or a panel that goes in here. That will be pretty much to the same size because it sits on top of the applique. Now his face, that needs a bit extra. So it tucks in under. And then his crown, which will sit over the top of his face. So I'm not worrying about any of those little designy little bits that are there because they're not needed at this stage. Let's do his hair, and I'm going to add extra to that. So it sort of sits in under his face. You can see how I've gone past the line of his face. So that there is the extra. Let's come over here and draw this side. There we go. So that's a good start. Now his arms. I'm going to do one arm. And I think I will add extra. Probably doesn't need it, but I think I will. I think it'll sit better under his bodice. Now I will draw the other arm. I think we will continue with that line of thought. Just so it tucks in a little bit. I need to add a little extra there. Okay, that's the basics. So now we can cut them out and add them to the fabric and start piecing together our little man. And look, it's not an exact science, thank goodness. So he will look probably a little distorted, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to leave those legs together for a moment. Let's have a look at our fabrics and see what we've got. I'm thinking we need a strong colour for his boots, and I think that is the one we're going to use. So I'm just going to see if I can fit them lengthways. Oh, it's so close. Yep, we can do it. Let's just cut that off of there. And that. Okay. I'll leave the little jaggedy bits, because that's just that little bit extra that can be used to tuck behind. No use trimming it off, not the length anyway. So now it's just a case of separating our little legs. They've certainly got a lot chunkier than they were in the picture. To be expected. Oh gosh, they're so crooked. Oh goodness, pick it up. Let's trim this back just a bit. To my eye, that looks a little bit too wide on one side. So there's his legs. Now, I guess the position of him, I'm thinking I might put him to the side, because I sort of have in my mind doing a floral treatment beside him, so he's a little bit surrounded by this floral. So I'm going to push him over a little bit. So there's the legs in position. Now we will do, I think, let's do his body. Let's cut it out. What fun this is. I'm really enjoying having the two. I'm not time-wise, like, let me tell you, I get one done, I think, oh, goodness me, I've got another one to do. But some weeks, I must say, I've enjoyed it so much that I'm like, oh, thank goodness I got a second one to do. But last week with the snowman, I don't know, it was just a lot on, and I couldn't relax and focus on it. So I sort of felt I might use the paisley for him. Is that a bit too busy? Use the spot. No, we'll give him a paisley body. Where's the end of that paisley? There it is. So let's cut his body out. At the end of the day, if one of the elements just doesn't look right, we can always redo it. It's not set in stone, these fabrics. But I think the paisley will be all right. I might have to go hunting for a face. Oh no, I've got these beigey fabrics here from the same range, so we should be able to find something. You should technically pin this, but you know, we're freewheeling. There's his body. Let's choose his hat. I'm thinking the spots for the hat. I've been working so hard on my William Morris series. The journal itself I've finished making and filming, but I'm going to be doing a slow stitch piece as well, which I sort of talk about in the series, but when I get to the end of the journal, I've sort of a little bit over it all, the William Morris aspect, and I'm thinking, nah, I won't do a slow stitch. But then you all started commenting, can't wait to see the slow stitch, so peer group pressure. But I'd sort of filmed it, you know, a week or two ago, so I had a rest from it, and I think that's half of it. We get so caught up in a project that when we finally get to the end of it, it's like, oh, that's enough. So I think a week went by after I completed the filming of it, and you'll be pleased to know there's a William Morris slow stitch coming, guys. I know there'll be some that'll be like beside themselves. Pamela, Sue, you girls will be like, yay. So what am I looking for now? I need some arms, I think, is the next choice. And I sort of felt like this little floral. Or the spot's too similar to the body. But it's not bad, is it? What other? I might save that. That might be, yeah, I'll do the floral. So we've got one arm. So yeah, I've been busy stitching a panel that is dedicated to the William Morris bundle of fabrics that I had used whilst making the journal. And I had heaps of fabrics left over. So I based it on camphor style stitching first. And now I'm about to start, there, that just fits. I'm about to start the applique aspect. So I've worked out some design elements because William Morris, oh, it's the gift that keeps giving. His fabrics and his designs are very florally, and they've got a vine-like presence to them. You know, they sort of just keep rolling along as he created these intricate floral designs. They're so beautiful. So it was pretty, oh, I had to take that call, guys. I hear the Christmas music, my ringtone. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. At least I had Christmas music as my ringtone. That's very poignant, isn't it? So I had to take that call. Sorry, guys. So I should have had it on airplane mode, but I'm expecting a few calls today from as our Christmas season gets busier, we need to get in some more FPOS machines just to help move people through quickly, so we don't have huge long queues. Like, we have queues anyway, which is a sight to be seen, let me tell you. So we have quite a few terminals or registers in the stores to sort of cope with this busy period that's coming. And I order in a couple extra FPOS machines so that we can have these registers going. And that was the gentleman installing extra machines into our Slacks Creek store. So I had a feeling they might call. So I do apologise. But you did get to hear my ringtone, which is Christmas. It's a bit of a bonus, bit of music. Okay, just snipping off another arm, just around that bottom. It'd be fun embellishing these guys. See where it goes. Adding maybe even some gold thread. I don't know if I want it to be blingy. I don't know. Maybe not. I'm thinking he needs to be more of a rusticy. I have to position this. Where's a pin? There we go. That's pretty good. Should probably pin it. Just to hold it. Can you hear my concentration? Okay, that's looking good. Now, what's left on our piece of paper to cut out? All my scraps out of the way. So we need a face. Is there a soft, plainish fabric here that we could get away with a face? Yeah, I think I could get away with that. That one there would be... Well, what do we use then for the beard? Do I? And his hair. Do we use a piece of calico for his face and that for his beard? I think we will. I'm just going to grab some calico. There's a piece. You can always change it if it doesn't look right. Let's cut this face out. I think I need a bigger piece of calico. That'll give us a nice neutral background. Don't think that'll fit, but this one will. I didn't take note of how long we were chatting away there before that phone rang. So I have no idea how long we've been going. Okay, so there's the little face. Doesn't have a lot of shape about him. Seem to have lost that in the... So is that face need to be under or over? I think it needs to be under a fraction. And there's his hat. Might pull that down a little bit. Okay, so there's his face. So he needs some hair and he needs a beard. So let's cut out some hair. That's it. Fiddly, fiddly. And I'm going to use this as his hair and face. It's got a tiny little star on it. Not his face, his hair. So I'm going to just fussy cut around this little piece. Might even use my quilter's glue stick before I start stitching and just put a little bit of glue on the back of all these little pieces just so I don't lose them. And it'll help with the fraying. So that is going to tuck in under there. This is the second one. So this is relatively simple. I think my only tip would be when you select a Nutcracker to use as your design, pick one that's quite simple and blocky, because at the end of the day we're using fabrics to sort of build him, and if it's too intricate, you're just making it too hard for yourself. So try and pick a big fella that is a very simple sort of design. That'd be my hot tip. Now I'm probably going to just use normal sewing machine sewing cotton, I think. I don't think I'll use embroidery floss, because I think I'll use the embroidery floss for embellishing him. So if I want to do some buttons and stripes and things like that, I'll just get him attached to the fabric with a very fine needle, so that I don't put too many holes in these little elements. So that can tuck down there. His hair sort of sits behind his shoulder a little bit too, which will be good. That'll help hold it all into position. There we go. That's looking good. And now his little crown can sit on top of there. So we might just put a little pin there for a moment. Now, what was left? His beard. Now that could be a beard, or it could be an additional colour to break up his shirt, which I'm sort of thinking along the lines of. But technically, no, I'm going to use it. It's got a funny shape along the bottom, so I think the design of him is a beard, and his teeth are sort of nestled in it. But I don't think I'll do that. I want to bring in a bit of colour to break up our guy. Now, will I use this little spot here? Sort of thinking along the lines of that. Or do I want to bring in a plainer colour? There is that's the hat. Do I bring in that? So it's either that one or that one, I think. I don't know. All I'm doing is making my fabric messy. Let's get to the bottom of this pile, wherever this piece is. I think it's going to be that one. So let's cut this out. Okay, let's turn that around, because I sort of cut it a little bit crooked. I don't want the selvage to be part of it. This beard is getting longer and longer the more I cut it out. It's probably increased in length due to the black pen being so thick. Then cutting it out on the outside of that line, then the fabric being a fraction bigger again. So there's his, we'll call it his lapel. We won't make it his beard. I don't like that. I'm going to cut another one out and see if I like it better. Maybe it needs to be dark. What fabric haven't we used in the dark? No, there's not a lot. Yeah, I think it needs to be dark. I wonder if I can get it out of that. It's the same as his hat, but I don't think that matters. Get it out of this scrap. It might be a bit smaller, but I think it'll work. I'm freehanding it now. Okay, yeah, that's better. It feels like it can compete with the fabrics underneath. Okay, so that is the start of my Nutcracker. So what the plan will be is to get all of that stitched down, and then I can go back again and revisit the design and start adding in some of the extra elements. So like his hands and the bottom of his shoes, a cuff on his shoes, which is going to be tricky because to show that depth there, it's going to be tricky when it's all the one colour, but I'm sure it'll work out. And then there's some little buttons or something. I don't know what we'll use for that. I have to have a think about it. Okay. And then I want to do a floral treatment up the side here. So I've got a couple options. I can create something from nothing in the way of some poinsettias and, you know, sort of go from there. Or, which was my plan when I was thinking about this last night. But then when I come in here this morning, I was looking at this fabric that we've got, and there's a floral print in amongst it. So I just want to explore that as an option and see if I can build something up. Like, there's definitely that, but over here I spotted this, and I thought maybe there was enough there that could be pulled out. See, it's tricky because there's a little bit. Let's have a look. I'm going to fussy cut around this, whether there's enough here to pull it off, because it's a strip of fabric that has a very big design on it. So you're sort of just getting, you know, branches, but this doesn't look too bad. And if I collage in other elements of floral, I might be able to build up a bit of a treatment up the side of him. We'll see. We'll just start by fussy cutting out some bits and see if we can piece something together. It would be pretty cool to use the fabric. And it'll be the same principle, just stitching it all down. I like that. And it's nice and big, so that might be my foundation piece. Is there anything else there that's usable? No. Some leaves. See, there's another bit of floral, and the rest, oh, that's it again. I'm going to take it again. I can always break it down into a smaller piece, but at least, okay. Might take that fern off of there this time. Just trying to bring it down in size. And I'll take that fern off of there. I'm going to nip into there, get rid of that half of a leaf. So maybe that can come up the side a little bit. I can see that there's a vertical line there. This guy needs to disappear somewhat to give the illusion that he's not there. It's like a bamboo sprig. But I think if I snip that enough, you won't notice that that is a vertical line. Might just take that bud down a little bit more. Okay. All right, any other useful bits here? There's a bit of floral. There's some sprigs here. There's another flower. Let's cut him out. It's half a flower, but he might be able to be tucked under something. So it's along the lines of what I did with the snowmen. At their feet, I put in some red foliage. I don't know if this will happen. It might continue with it. Might look at it and go, no, don't like it. So there's another flower. We do have a selvage there, but we'll leave it for now. So if you start tucking in things, you can create the illusion that this piece is bigger than what it actually is, just by getting your big pieces down first. So I do have another flower there. I'll leave him for now because I think I've got enough of the cream elements. Now there is another fabric in here that is of interest, this one. So let's get this out of my way. There is a holly, but I don't think I'll bother with that. This one here, that there, I don't think I'll bother because the girls haven't given us a prompt for holly yet, and I would think that that was maybe a potential. See, there's another couple there that I didn't notice design-wise, colour-wise. There's like a darker version. So there's another paisley. Champagne coloured guy would have been pretty. But anyway. Now, question, do I use some red elements in it? I think I will. I'm going to cut out this red flower. And see if I can layer that into it. I'm probably taking way too long on this video. So things like that can be pieced in like so. We might tuck that under his ear so it hides the fact that that leaf finishes, and then we can bring the next flower treatment over it so it looks like it's hidden by that piece there coming up. And it's a case of find another little piece. We'll cut out these little berries. So it's just a case of collaging everything that you can scrappy out of this to create a brand new image. So we might bring that through there, and you've got to make it look natural. Maybe that through there, I don't know. Maybe that into there. That looks good. Okay, I might have to leave it at that, guys. I know you're probably enthralled with this and wondering where the heck I'm going to go. But I'm just going to keep chopping pieces out and layering them in, tucking them in. I need small little bits, big bits, and try and build a spray of flowers there that look like they're meant to be there. And I might have to move him over a bit. We'll see how we go. Maybe that's got to tuck down into there more. And that could come off there. Maybe I can find a leaf like that little guy that can be stitched into there to give the impression that that continues. And maybe I can find a leaf that takes that guy out. Or maybe I can take this flower here off of the sister fabric and add that in there to try and link it all together. And there you go. It's just a case of fiddle around with it until you get like layers and layers of floral. Okay, everyone, I'm going to have to go. It's 24 minutes, and I have a feeling the last one was about that. So hopefully that's enough to give you an idea of where I'm heading. So like I said, lots of stitching here in the blues, and then I'll go from there, come back to you with what I do there. Probably lace, I'm thinking. Let the blue be the hero. And this little guy, he's going to be a mishmash of all sorts of things, and he's going to be nestled in there. I think I might have to change his hair to be a little bit stronger in colour because it's blending a little bit too much with that background. Having said that, I'm going to move him over, I think. And that way I've got a little bit more room for this floral piece to sort of develop a little bit. Okay, I will say goodbye, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.